On the first night of Chanukah, we recite the Shechianu blessing for living to witness the miracle of Chanukah and its celebration for yet another year. But this year, as the vaccine began to be distributed and given to the first Americans yesterday and continues today, we have to say a Shechianu that we live to see, thank God, the vaccine being rolled out in such short order. Perhaps the quickest vaccine to ever be created. And as we celebrate the victory of the Maccabees, who fought for life, liberty, and freedom, who fought for the preservation of Judaism, we also have to think about the modern-day Maccabees, all the healthcare workers, and the scientists who created this vaccine for us, who will, thank God, slowly over the next few months bring an end to this pandemic. And we have to be truly grateful to Hashem. The message of the little oil, the little cruse of oil, couldn't be more relevant today. You know, the Jewish people, the Maccabees, after winning the war, went into the temple and searched until they found one little cruse of oil. And they could have said to themselves, what good is this little bit of oil? It will burn for just one day, and then tomorrow it will go out. Why bother creating a little bit of light if it won't last more than just a day? But the message of Chanukah is that we should never think that our light is insignificant. The world is filled with darkness, but a little bit of light could banish a great deal of darkness. Our task in this world is to create light. And even if we think that our little light is so puny, so small, how can it banish all the darkness in the world? The Maccabees teach us, you light your candle. You create your fire, your light, your little flame. And God will bless your efforts and do the rest. And this little flame will burn, not for one day, but for 8 days. And not only for 8 days, but the light that the Maccabees restored to the temple, to the Jewish people, to Jerusalem, has burned from the year 162 BCE until this very day, 2020, when we are back in Eretz Yisrael, back in Yerushalayim, once again lighting the menorah throughout our homeland. That's what a little bit of light can do. And so this has been a dark period in our history. But this time of the year reminds us that we as human beings can also create miracles. We are partners with God. Not only does God create miracles, but we have the ability to create a miracle. And when we create a little bit of light, when we fight for light, then God will bless us, and that light will grow and grow until all the darkness of the world is transformed. I want to share with you an amazing story. There was a Holocaust survivor. His name was Mr. Greenbaum. He came to America. He decided that he wanted to change his name to Green and that he was going to become Americanized and secular because he was so bitter after losing his family in the Holocaust and what had happened to the Jewish people. They decided he was going to assimilate. He happened to marry a Jewish woman, a Holocaust survivor, and they both agreed to raise their children secular. They moved to Alabama. When his son turned 13, he said, you know, 13 is a rite of passage. I'm not going to celebrate a bar mitzvah, but he decided to take his son to the shopping mall on a little bit of a shopping spree in honor of his turning 13, which is a significant birthday. He took him to one store, another store, sports shops, asking his kid, what would you like to buy? Kid wasn't interested in anything. Finally, they're walking through the mall and they pass an antique shop. And in the window, the son sees a wooden menorah. And he says to his dad, let's go in here. And the father says, really, an antique shop? He said, yeah. They walk in. They look at this wooden menorah. It's an old menorah. They talk to this shopkeeper. He says, this is a menorah that survived the war, World War II. It's an antique. And he says, the father says, how much do you want for it? They negotiate a price. And the father buys his son this menorah. He's surprised that his son chose a menorah, but that's what his son wanted. He was happy to buy it for him. A few days later, the father and the mother are sitting in the house, and all of a sudden they hear something fall and break. They run upstairs to their son's bedroom, and they see their son was playing with the menorah, and he accidentally dropped it, and it broke apart. And the father bends down to pick up the pieces, and he sees inside the menorah, inside the base, there's a piece of paper. And he takes out the piece of paper, and he can't believe his eyes. In this menorah was hidden a piece of paper that was inscribed and said, we are some Jews who are now in Bergen-Belsen. And if you find this menorah, that means that we did not survive. But please, we beg you, keep the flame of Judaism burning bright. Light this menorah for us, so that our sacrifice, our death, will not be in vain. That's what the Jewish people do until this day. Despite everything we've been through, so much darkness as a Jewish people, so much persecution, so much oppression, we continue to light the flames of the menorah to teach the world a lesson that we believe in light. We will fight for light. We will preserve the light because we believe and we know that light is greater than darkness, and we will vanquish all the darkness in the world if we just light our little flame. May the light of health, happiness, and prosperity continue to grow and grow in our country and around the world until we vanquish all the darkness that we've experienced. Happy Chanukah.